Okay, welcome back. We are here for a segment called Who's on the Line? And who we have on the line today is none other than Don Tom.
Don who, Tom?
Don who, Tom, who did not play at Rice, but in fact played at Carleton.
Cut.
So,
I'm honored to be here.
Yes, and it's a pleasure to have you here. Don still plays.
That is insane.
What's the last tournament that you played in? Have you done Surly recently?
Let's see. I've been playing with Surly. This past year was GM, or 2 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. So that was Nationals, like 2020.
And did you win it?
And we won it.
Do you have a count on how many Masters championships you have?
I want to say 4.
That's awesome.
And then maybe 2 or 3 GMs. I can't remember.
So we've got Tank here, and one of the reasons that we wanted to get you on the line today was because we did a little pre-interview with Tank earlier this week, and he mentioned you as one of the people that he saw kind of really legitimize Ultimate as a thing that could be really a lifestyle change for him and something that he could do, because he had just played one college season and then was in Houston playing summer league or pickup games at Rice, and then met you and Alfie, and I think you mentioned Sean and Stone as well, and seeing these guys that are professionals, like not professional Frisbee players, but Don is an anesthesiologist, and just someone that really had an early influence on him as a legitimizer for the sport. I'm wondering, do you remember meeting Tank in those early days? Do you remember him coming out to those pickup games at all at Rice?
Did he make an impression on you?
I did. Like,
no.
Hey, were you playing high school in Houston?
Mm-mm. Oh, he thought you were in high school?
No.
Was he 5'7"?
Yeah. Fact check.
I do remember. I don't remember the day that we met, Tank, but I do remember you coming out early on, and I remember thinking that that this is a really athletic guy, and if he stays with this, like, I could see that the game's going to evolve to this type of play, this type of body style, this type of speed. Because before that, like, it was, handlers and deeps and mids, right? And everyone had pretty defined roles. But, I think Tank, caught the attention of a lot of people because he kind of had the potential to do kind of it all, right? Yeah. He was tall and lanky and fast. And that's kind of a rare trait in those days. And he was just a kid, and he had like such a great attitude. I remember he was just like smiling in the back of the stack.
What? That doesn't sound right at all. What are you smiling for back there?
I don't know.
That's not a place to smile.
But like I could tell, like, early on that he seemed to like really enjoy the sport for what it was, and I appreciated that, because I think that it was kind of I don't know if you can pipe in, Tank, but Frisbee in that time was kind of a weird transition. Like, a lot of the open teams were like brutal assholes. It was like a really...
Hey, Don, this is a kid show.
Oh, sorry. It was mean spirited, and like it was kind of
bad guys.
Cheat to win.
Really, I've read about that. I've talked to players from that era, and so you're talking about like
New York, Dog.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't need to think out players, but like, I guess what you're trying to say is like that was the recipe back then to win. Like, that's what people expected.
New York definitely, as I was a college player and only heard about club, I had not seen I had not traveled a lot, but that was kind of, the late 80s, early 90s was teams of New York, Windy City, Florida, and those guys were just like brutal, like really just tough-minded, like fought it out.
Yeah.
Tripped a lot at each other. Like, it was just not well-spirited. And I think, Tank's kind of, like, when he started popping up, like, I think the game was evolving, right? And I think that, like, me as a young player at the time, like, I respected teams that played fairly. Chain Lightning was always a good team.
Yeah.
Always a good team in our region. And they respected the game. And I appreciated that.
Mm-hmm. So I think we mentioned it in the first show, but Don, you played Hounds for how many years prior to that first year at Double Wide? Were you there for about, what you go ahead and say, like 3 or 4 years, something like that?
Yeah, so I graduated Carleton in 93. I actually wasn't going to play, but I ended up playing with Rice that 94 season. And then 95, I joined the Houston Hounds.
You played Rice Ultimate.
Well,
Hey!
I don't apologize for anything.
Hey!
We had it right all along.
Hey!
Yeah. But it was before Damien, and it was before, probably, I want to say maybe even before Alfie.
Alfie would have probably been 94, 95, I'm guessing.
Yeah, Alfie was there. It was really the heart of the team was Mecca Corin. And he was actually
having such a hard time picturing that person. I know that name.
You probably have never.
He was
seen
baller, Danton baller.
Mecca was fast, and he had this. His thing was spirit, and he led.
Man, that's awesome.
He led the Rice team in cheers. Like and to this day, the Rice team still cheers the things that he invented.
Yeah,
really,
that's really cool.
Seems like
I think that's really important to call out. Like, when your best players are like that, are spirited, play the game, quote unquote, the right way, treat opponents with respect, that filters down to everybody. And that's really cool to hear with Rice, to see like the impact it's had on the program to this day. I would argue you've had that impact on Double Wide. Tank, you've had that impact on Double Wide, but especially on Texas Ultimate. Being one of the best players, like, I think Double Wide and Texas Ultimate for years were known as like especially when our chain rivalry, like, it's going to be a gentleman's game. Like, we're going to have a really good game. It's not going to go to another level that nobody wants to go to.
Yeah. I mean, I think that going back to your point, if Tank saw like me and maybe Shawnee and maybe some other players as, guys that could play this game hopefully at a high level, but also be able to do other things too. Like, that means a lot to me, because I think that, like, Frisbee's played a big role in my life.
Yeah.
And I want to be surrounded. One of the reasons why I play is that I want to surround myself with good people that I respect. And like, I cherished my time with the Hounds, and I cherished my time with Double Wide. Like, it's, those are like years that I was doing a lot of growing up, and I see a lot of the players growing up, as I matured, and I had some hard lessons, and I respect all that stuff. And, I went through it with Homie, with the Hounds when I was in my 20s. And, I just recognized that, like, you always want to leave something better than you found it.
Right.
And I the lasting thing, I'm not interested in legacy, but I'm interested in just helping form, like, what should be a good aspect of a team, and and being a good teammate, and hopefully, like, what I would love to know about people about me is that, like, we started and this team was a bunch of guys that looked out for each other and played the game right.
Yeah, when we talked the other day, we talked on Monday just to kind of prep for this, and Tank and I were talking about the 06 year, which was a tough year. We didn't make nationals. We were like preparing for nationals, also getting ready to go to Worlds.
Worlds was in Australia.
Worlds was in Perth, yeah. And
That's right.
I was just we had something that got brought up, and I went searching for some record of it in my Gmail, and I came across in the search an email from you to Tank and I that was really just so nice, and it was like so refreshing to read this even 15 years later. where we had just lost at regionals. We didn't qualify for nationals. And you told Tank and I that you thought we were doing a great job. You appreciated us being captains, and that you were looking forward to putting on those baby blues and running with us one more time at Australia. And I'm sure it meant something then, but then to look back on it now and to kind of come across it was really cool. And I think it speaks to your philosophy or just the way you approach things. And you say, you're not thinking about your legacy, but I think your actions just kind of are defining your legacy, because I like Kieran mentioned, the influence that you would have on a young player like Tank, and the influence that Tank would have on other young players. It's about playing the game the right way. I just think, it's something that all of us and anybody that I know that has played with you really appreciates about you, as far as being just like really generous, caring, super thoughtful teammate, and just an awesome person to have been lucky enough to play with. So that was really cool to see the other day.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Like that was my last year with Double Wide. Yeah. And I know, and that, that was heart-wrenching. Like losing, not making nationals is hard. Like, I mean, I think that we set such a high standard for ourselves.
Yeah. And,
but that being said, we moved on and we went to Worlds and we had a great time.
Yeah.
And then I think we played well together, and that's, the things that I look back over these years, those are the things that like count the most for me, right? Like experiences like that.
Yeah.
And cool shirts.
Yeah.
And you get some cool gear along the way.
Yeah. But I'm honored that, if I were one of the early influences to Tank, man, like that's such an honor to hear that. Because, I love you, Tank. You are, what epitomizes Texas Ultimate, right? And super proud of you when you were playing on the U.S. team. It meant the world to me seeing you out there playing. So, yeah.
Do you have anything you want to make fun of him about?
His small feet.
Oh, small feet.
Yeah.
Yes.
That played
You
part
do
in
have
following
small
that.
feet.
Whatever.
I was texting with Scotty earlier today because we were okay, tell us some
Ooh,
stuff.
swapping cleats.
Oh,
Talking
and
swapping cleats?
Scotty said,
Super cute.
Scotty said that you guys used to swap cleats, and I was like, but you have really tiny feet. And I talk about Scotty.
To be fair, Scotty's feet are 9.5, 10. It's a normal size shoe.
He said
He
average.
did say
he
it was
responded
average.
with average. Yeah.
But I was just blown away. So you have tiny feet too.
I told you, I would be 5'7" if not for that weird summer. I would be shorter than Scotty. Yeah.
No, you have pretty average sized feet. I think you were one of the first. I think you're one of the first players to wear white cleats.
Oh, I love
To
those
bring
white
back the
cleats.
white cleats.
I
What were
love
people
white
wearing
cleats.
before that?
Oh, it was dark. It was black cleats.
Black
Yeah, it's
cleats,
like-
white socks.
Just like
Get out
Alfie
of here.
Black
No.
Sambas.
Black
No,
Samba.
it was
Well,
like
Alfie
white
had the
tips on
black
his skirt.
sambas, but But were you wearing white socks with those black cleats?
No.
Yeah, come
He'd
on.
never do
Well,
such
no,
a thing.
You would never do
let's be
that.
clear. Don wouldn't.
Don,
A
Alfie
lot of other
would.
people were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can edit this out later. But Alfie also wore tidy whities.
Well, that was like the peak of undergarment athletic wear at that point.
Okay, I do. So, Don,
Speedo.
maybe you can fact check this. Scotty said that Tank used to wear Speedos while playing Frisbee before wearing Manny's. Is that true?
Oh, I don't remember that.
Well, Don
That was-
shouldn't know
yeah,
about that.
Don-
This is a
no,
Tank question.
This was absolutely true.
Yeah.
You remember
I
that?
felt real fast with those on.
why was that, Tank?
I don't know if it was a necessity. I was in college and I wouldn't buy a pair of athletic underwear or
Your
something.
bro was just getting free
And
Speedos.
my brother,
and you were
my
like-
brother's kind of throwing free Speedos at me. My brother was on the swim team at UT, so I don't know.
That makes sense.
But
Okay.
they didn't smell.
It would have been tough to get to Academy back
Yeah,
then.
I didn't have a car.
Yeah. You would have had it. Like,
There was no Amazon. You couldn't order it
Yeah.
to your place,
yeah.
your dorm. I was telling Kieran and Kevin that, not only as influence in terms of how you are as a player, but also just the way you and Alfie and Sean just held yourselves as people was like a huge influence to legitimize the sport, and also gave me confidence to invite my parents to come watch.
You're talking
that's
about as professionals, like you're like, oh, these are professionals that are also playing the sport,
Right,
But
like
also
these are
good people.
These are responsible adults that
Yeah.
are like just really good people.
Yeah.
And that was a huge influence.
I had a similar
in terms
experience with
of-
my parents too. Like I was like, meet Tank, meet these other people that are like very successful in life, like that. I'm around like good people, because
Yeah.
I think it was always a question mark for, I'm sure, lots of parents that like with our kids all of a sudden become obsessed with the sport. You're like, who are you around?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're traveling with who in the middle of the night? Like what?
Yeah.
You would have to pick the tournament to invite him out to.
Yeah, you're not
You're not
going
gonna-
to Harvest
like-
Moon. You're not taking them to Harvest Moon.
Yeah.
No.
Not
no.
older days.
Yeah.
Yeah. DT, I want to throw you some love. Even after you retired, I would tell anybody that would listen that you had the best mid-range flick 2-cut-4 that I'd ever seen. I always described it as catching a pillow. Whether I was going up the line for it. Well, we only played a year, but like coming towards your flick, cutting in and catching it, very soft. Just like, I just cradle it, put it in my stomach. Like, it wasn't coming at me like a bullet.
You'd almost feel bad catching it because
Yeah, it
you
was
just
like-
wanted to see it keep going.
Yeah. Just beautiful.
You know who
Poetry.
you know who I credit that to? Calvin.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And the reason why it was every time I threw with Calvin, it hurt.
Yes.
It shouldn't
Oh
hurt
my
to
God.
throw a frisbee.
Yeah. No, he's like an
So I
inch
was
off
like-
the ground. He's pivoted all the way out, and he's throwing you a laser. And you're like, you're only
Yeah.
3 feet away from each other.
Yeah,
Like, why are you doing that?
This is the first
Yeah.
throw of warm-ups, Calvin. Take it easy.
Yeah, stop lasering it through me.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Hey, Don, we really appreciate you joining us. It's really great to see your face and hear your voice. It's been a while, and I can't wait till the next time I can see you in person and talk to you. It's been
for sure.
really great seeing you.
I am honored that you guys invited me to your show. This is pretty awesome.
It's good
Thanks,
to see you.
DT.